I was 15 when I came to Ibiza for the first time. I spent part of my childhood here, and since then, I've returned to the island regularly. I believe it was a very important part of my childhood and my youth to spend a certain amount of time on this island. For thousands of years, it's been a melting pot for the diverse cultures of the Mediterranean. The Orient is very close here, geographically, architecturally, and in Ibiza's cultural heritage. The Arabs, for example, reigned over the island for 600 years, and they brought with them everything they knew about agriculture, architecture, music, and the art of building systems. It was in these systems, or to be more precise, in the system of my parents' house, that I discovered a very important phenomenon for myself: reverberation. I often went to fetch water from the cistern. When I threw the bucket down into it, I heard an endless reverberation. And so one day I took my flute and started playing it into the cistern. That was a pivotal experience for me. Today there are a lot of instruments I cannot imagine using without this reverberation, especially not the human voice. I've often wondered why reverb is so important to me, especially for the end of each sound, because thanks to it, the sound does not end abruptly, but seems to continue into infinity. The boundaries begin to blur. I believe that this acoustical event is somehow linked to our yearning to break open the boundaries that often limit us, to break open the limitations of our own personality. And basically, that's the goal of every religion, to let the boundaries of our being blend with everything else. Infinity, distance, the unlimited, all these are qualities that we link to such a sound. And perhaps that's what makes these sounds so especially beautiful. So Ibiza, somewhere in between Europe and the culture of the Orient, became to me something of a stepping stone to make my first stride towards the Arabs, and later to India, and finally to Japan. At some point there in Ibiza, I realized I had to go to Asia, and that I wanted to learn and understand the traditional music there. Not because I wanted to make traditional Asian music, I wanted to create something of my own, a musical link between these strange and foreign worlds.
I say I say
During my trips to Asia, I naturally became familiar with the culture of Zen Buddhism and Taoism. And both of these religions had a strong appeal for me because they're so simple in their message and because the central element in these religions is the veneration of nature. They also appeal to me because they give so little importance to the intellect, to the extent that they even distrust it, and instead stress the importance of intuition and the senses. For me, a very beautiful part of Zen Buddhism is the so-called koans, that are actually intended to lead us out of the realm of the intellect, to show us that our mind is not the means by which we can see the truth in life. That's why the koans are constructed in a way that defies intellectual understanding. They don't make sense, but they may succeed in letting you go beyond your intellect. And then, just as in a good joke, for a moment, something opens up wide inside you. Some kind of door opens, and perhaps you do see some truth. One of my records has the title Koan, and on its cover you can find the following koan. Believing to have understood something about the essence of life, Tsui Yen left his monastery at a young age to travel through China. After many years, at his return, his master asked him, "Tell me about the essence of life." Tsui Yen answers, "When there are no clouds over the mountain, the moonlight penetrates the ripples of the lake." The master looked at his former disciple in anger. "You are getting old, your hair is grey, you have just a few teeth left, and still you have no understanding of life." Tsui Yen lowered his eyes, tears streaming over his face. After a few minutes he asked, "Please, will you tell me about the essence of life?" "When there are no clouds over the mountain," responded the master, "the moonlight penetrates the ripples of the lake." Every time I compose a new piece of music, I'm reminded of an ancient Taoist saying: "Shape clay and create a vessel. It's the emptiness that makes it useful." In a way, being a composer is a strange profession, because you create something out of the void. I often envy people like carpenters, who at least can see something when they've worked all day. A door maybe, or a window, or something like that. But with my profession as a composer, it's different. At the end of the day, I've played for hours, and tried again, and still have achieved nothing. Or, I've achieved something, but I'm not content with it. It's a bit like a fisherman who goes out every day to cast his nets, and never knows if he'll catch fish or not. And often enough he comes home without having caught a thing. So very often you don't achieve anything, but from time to time you do make a catch. Sometimes this job is very hard. I believe that music is one way of feeling a higher kind of reality than the one we consider to be normal. Music is like a wing, like a bird we can mount and fly to countries we've been dreaming about. I don't know why, but that reminds me of an ancient Anatolian fairy tale. One should not talk about bliss, since it's like the breath of God. A single word could destroy its floating lightness. We have a saying that the night of love is like the silent flight of black swans, whose wingtips touch the clouds. Do not disturb them in their flight, O brother and friend, because they carry with them the stillness that is the secret of all happiness. Without a sound they glide, their flight a quest for silence, the black swans of bliss. Perhaps stillness is also the secret of the Japanese bamboo flute that I love so much, the shakuhachi. In Western music, there's not much space for silence. I'm always on the lookout for new sounds, and I try to discover them on old instruments. I never manage to concentrate on just one instrument. I always want to learn how to play new ones and create arrangements for instruments that have never been played together. For example, I composed one piece for Bavarian zither, Balinese xylophone, and Japanese bamboo flute. But very often I envision sounds that I cannot create on my old instruments. So I just modify or rebuild them entirely. Sometimes I end up building a completely new instrument because I have a certain sound in my head that doesn't yet exist. And in doing so, I develop a very intimate feeling for the instrument, a deep kind of love that creates new sounds. During my last years at school, records with Indian sitar music came to Germany for the first time, mostly by Ravi Shankar. I devoured these records, listening to them again and again. I was so fascinated by this music that I decided to go to India and learn the sitar as soon as I finished school. It wasn't much different with the Japanese instruments. First I heard them on records, and I was just as fascinated. So I went to Japan to learn the bamboo flute, the shakuhachi, and the Japanese mouth organ, the sho. But first I went to India, without a specific destination or an address. I just went to New Delhi, to the Academy of Music, and inquired about a teacher who lived outside the city. It's very hard for me to live in big cities. They gave me an address in Benares, and I got on so well with the man that I stayed there. It was quite different from attending a school or an academy, perhaps like it might have been during the Middle Ages in Europe. You practically lived with your teacher, nearly like father and son. And then, for 3 years, I did nothing else but play the sitar 8 hours every day. Well, at that time I really craved it in a way. Nothing else existed. Many people have asked me, why do you live here in Bavaria? Why don't you go and live in India, or Japan, or go to the Mediterranean? I really can't answer that question. I simply learned to see this as my home as time went on. And after every trip, I saw more clearly that I really do live in one of the most beautiful places on the face of this earth. By the way, I believe that you can only learn instruments like the sitar and the shakuhachi well in their countries of origin, because the music doesn't consist only of notes or sounds. You also have to see what the light is like in that country, how the sun rises and sets, what the temperature is like, and the weather and the rain, and the animals, and what the food is like, the religion, the arts, the way people dress, the sounds and smells of the cities, the markets, the landscape. All these things flow into the music. They are part of the reality and the essence of that music.
Why I say
Sometimes, listening to certain sounds or to certain sequences of sounds, I have the feeling that there is some kind of essence or truth to this music. That may sound strange, but I believe you cannot express the truth using words. That is surely one of the basic reasons why people make music at all, because they somehow want to try and express the essence that they feel. I believe that nature has this essence, and that is the reason it does me so much good to go out into nature, to contemplate it and be surrounded by it. And this walking in truth or essence gives me incredible strength, and the music can be a portrait of this truth that we cannot describe with words. And I believe that this is the point where music and nature meet. With my music, I try to give some of the things that are very important to me, to the listener, such as beauty and silence. Both can be found in nature. Both are deeply connected, and both touch us in our deepest and innermost being.